Good morning. So the last couple weeks we've been feeling like we're pretty much always running from behind, which from what my understanding is not uncommon when you're trying to build a homestead, when you're trying to become more self-reliant, less dependent. A lot of the homesteaders that I follow have been going through the same thing. Some of it has to do with the extreme heat. So you're like a hurry up and rush. Most everybody, because of the whatever reasons, started late. And so we're always like running from behind, and now everything's just a hurry up and well, for one thing, we have to pick our tomatoes, but constantly be watching them, because when it's extreme hot and then you get the rain and they crack. And I mean, if you're processing them, you know, putting them in sauces or whatever, it doesn't really matter, but they just don't really make for a attractive tomato sandwich. Last week I was making it a priority to get this both gardens weeded. I managed to get the upper garden completely done, and I am now trying to make a dent in the lower garden. Excessive weeds cause more problems with pests, robs the nutrients, what you need for your actual product that you're trying to produce. You don't need weeds sucking up all your potassium and causing a lot of blossom rot, which has been our problem, one of our problems. So basically that's been my mission for the last couple weeks, trying to do that while I've been home. I did make some good headway. Most of this part up here is adequately weeded. You have to constantly be on it, because it's never ending, especially after a rain. Like every evening it seems to be dumping several inches of rain just in a short period of time. The ones we got last night was strong enough to actually break one of my pepper plants, which I need to pick those peppers off of it. But that's kind of a bummer, because it was actually my biggest pepper plant. One of the things I learned this week, which I'm kind of sad about, and I'll have to start some more to see if I can actually get this to work for me, is how to save seeds from pepper plants. This was a learning curve for me. I didn't realize this. So in order to seed save for pepper plants, you have to wait till the bell peppers get to be red. I didn't realize that. So what I didn't realize is that all bell peppers start off green and they change color with maturity. So in order to have viable seeds to be able to plant next year to get more peppers, you have to wait till they get to be red and then pick them when they're fully mature. And then you can pull the seeds out, dry them, and you can plant them for next year. The problem is fighting with bugs. As with organic gardening, there's always a rush. I'm ending up picking a lot of the tomatoes, peppers, other things to get them before the bugs and the insects end up getting them. And so I have not yet picked a red pepper, because I'm not letting it get to maturity. So today I'm going to be starting out some new seedlings for peppers, with the express purposes of just trying to get them to go red, so that I can actually seed save for them for next year. I'm thinking that there's enough time to do that. With our frost date down here, the first frost date is supposed to be like October 28th. Very rarely do I think it's a hard frost, so they might even be able to go a little bit past that. So I need to get them started today so I can have some seeds for next year. I learned this from a channel that I follow. A girl, I wish I could remember her name, but her channel's name is Faith and Family Homestead, and I've learned an awful lot from her. She's been, I don't think she's been doing this tremendously long, but you can tell with her personality she's learned a lot, and I just love watching her and watching her kids and help around the homestead. I think it's really neat to be able to have your kids grow up being part of it. With my kids being adults, they really couldn't care less. Down here in the lower garden, I've been making a little bit headway the last couple days. You see down here in the jungle where I left off tying up tomatoes. They are huge. I mean, I'm guessing that's about 7 feet tall. And they just kind of, I just constantly have to tie them up. And I've been behind the 8 ball on that since the very beginning. When we put these fences up to tie onto them, they were already wrangly and unruly. So today, as I start back, I will be tying up tomato plants and then weeding the rows, getting all the greenery away from the root system, pulling out the tomatoes that are just not going to make it, which are here. And this row here is all suckers that we pulled from the tomatoes when we were a few weeks back, maybe a month back, that we pulled off the tomato plants. So the suckers grow branches, the low branches that grow from the bottom and just kind of like suck up all the energy. So it is recommended to pull those. And so we did that, and then we stuck them in the ground, and they're actually doing pretty good. I need to go through and cut off all the dead branches and get ready for healthier tomatoes, hopefully. Rick planted a few rows of corn, nothing like what we had last year, but we're just gonna see what happens with this. This is supposed to be sweet corn, hoping that that's what it ends up being. The potatoes he planted a few weeks ago are coming up. We haven't quite figured out what we're doing with the other row, if anything, that was on the other side of there. But for the first batch of potatoes, that was underwhelming, but we will we'll see how it goes. The Braxis, things like Brussels sprouts and broccoli and cauliflower, I'm almost thinking next year in the spring, I'm not even going to bother. I will save it for a fall crop. I did start some brocks a couple days ago in seedling trays, and I'm just hoping that when they actually get out into the ground, that the biggest part of the insects have gone by, and they'll leave them alone and stop trying to turn them into lace tablecloths. It's ridiculous. Our butternut squash has done well, just all on the small side, and so I'm gonna leave them on there for a while. I'm not sure. In the upper garden, they're about the same size. They were put in earlier, and they definitely get a lot more sun, because the sun's getting blocked from our bean cage here, and I'm just hoping they could get a little bit bigger. I'd love to have them to be like store size. I love butternut squash soup, and looking forward to have enough to actually try some other recipes. Our watermelon was a big disappointment. We got one that was about the size of a football, and we were pretty excited about that. And we had 2, 3, 4 more. Made their little tents to hold them up so that they wouldn't end up on the ground. And then, voila, blossom rot. So from the research that we did, this is caused by a calcium deficiency and erratic watering. So we are trying to stop the erratic watering by having the tape down here, which originally when they first came up, the tape was not down here. However, I'm not sure what else to do. We're going to add some calcium pellets. I have new plants that are waiting to go in, not as many as what I had planted originally. It was kind of a disappointment. It was the first time that we ever had grown watermelon, and we're not going to get anything out of them. Rick did cut them open, but they weren't even close to being developed. So that was sad. So I'd try again. At least I know I can grow them, just even if I can't eat them, I can grow them down here, which is neat. I did manage to get done what I wanted to get done in the lower garden today with the tomato plants being weeded and tied up, cut off all the bad stuff. So it looks a lot better than it did earlier. We get a storm that's going to be rolling in anytime now, so I'm going to go ahead and pick what tomatoes we have before it rains so they don't crack. Sometimes some of the ones I'll be picking aren't like peak perfect, but I just don't want them to get all nasty looking. And it seems like you can only get a little bit done between the heat and the storms that roll in, but at least I'll take this as a win. I did get quite a bit done this morning. It's not quite the jungle it was this morning. As you can see, a lot of them have cut off all the bad stuff, but when it rains and it cracks, you just end up with less than picture perfect tomatoes. I mean, they still taste good, and you cut out the parts that you don't like. There goes the thunder. And so, I mean, it doesn't matter what they look like as long as you got the bad parts out when you're making salsas and sauces and stuff. But as far as having a pretty tomato sandwich, they're just not so pretty. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those tomatoes picked at least. I mean, pick up, see if there's any okras ready before the storm actually starts. So every day I pick the tomatoes. We get quite a few tomatoes. I haven't weighed them, but if I was gonna guess, I would probably say between 10 and 15 pounds of tomatoes every day. I pick them, and then I lay them out so they can start to get a little bit more ripe. And then if I start seeing fruit flies, I will remove them. As they get more ripe, I move them over to a different part of the different table, and then I will put them in freezer bags. I will cut out the bad parts, put them in the freezer bags, and then when I get I guess about six gallon bags full, I will throw them into a crock pot and start cooking them down. That's what I did for the pizza sauce. And after about 12 hours and spooning out probably about, I want to say about 6 cups of just, it's mostly water. Spooning that out, then I will run it through my tomato mill that I bought. Probably the best $35 I've spent this year. Saved so much work. Then after that, I've been putting them into like half-gallon mason jars until I have 4 or 5 half-gallon mason jars, and then throw it in the pot, and then I can go ahead and make the sauce that I want to make. That's how I've been doing. That's how I did the pizza sauce. I did the salsas a little bit different because I don't want it to be a sauce. I want it to be more chunky. But this next batch I'm going to be doing will be pasta sauce that I'll be working on, and so that's how I'll have that work. But I'll wait till I get about 6 gallon bags full. I think I have 2 right now, and then I can go ahead and start making pasta sauce and try to get enough for the year. So why am I trying to preserve enough food for a year? Well, everything that is coming out of the garden, I am trying to make sure that the family is all set for a year, and I'm trying to prepare for a family of 8. So that includes my adult children that don't live with me, as well as my father and us, and the princess. And so why did I pick a year? Well, it's basically to set a goal, because if you don't set a goal ever or have a vision for what you want to do, you're never going to accomplish anything. So that's just what a lot of people talk a year's worth of food. Is a year's worth of food necessary to preserve? No. But if it saves you money at the grocery store, I'm sure there's still plenty of spaghetti sauce at the grocery store. I'm not sure it's 99 cents a can for a can of Hunt's anymore. I haven't bought it. I haven't bought it in over a year because I made plenty of it last year. But it used to be 99 cents, and if there's like everything else that has gone up in the last year, everything has gone up 30 to 50, 60%. The prices are ridiculous, and that breaks my budget. So by doing this, it saves me money. It's food security. You don't know, besides having the grocery bill exceed your budget by 30 to 60%, we are also knowing that our gas budget has gone up 100% in the last year. Thanks, Brandon. So with all the uncertainty that's going on, you pretty much know that it's not going to get any better, not anytime in the near future. And so I'm planning for the worst, trying to get my shelves stocked so that food is not something we have to worry about. And by knowing what's going in the jars, I know that it's healthier. There's no preservatives, there's no chemicals, and we can all be healthier people. Less trips to the doctor, less trips to the hospital. We've had a lot of uncertainty in the last couple years, and so by doing this, we're trying to take more control of what's going on in our lives. Very, very little do we have control of, but I think it would be foolish to look around at what's going on in the world and not realize that you need to do some preparing. And that's what's on my heart, is just to prepare for my family. My kids, all my kids make more money than I do. But as a mama bear, I still feel like I need to take care of them, make sure that they're all set, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. I don't mean to get all doom and gloom and conspiracy theorists, but you really can't ignore what's going on in the world. It's been kind of crazy. So that kind of wraps up what we've been doing. Rick's been doing some tree work. I'll take you out there next time he gets out there. I doubt he's going to be able to work much out there today. We'll see, because the storm may be going around us. It may not. I don't know. He won't be home for a couple of hours. But that's about what we've been up to, or what I've been up to anyway. While I've been home, I've had a lot of time off the last couple of weeks from taking care of the princess. She's been on vacation, and so I've just been trying to get the garden in order. So that's it for today. I hope everybody's doing well. If you have any questions, any input, that would be wonderful. Start a conversation. Like and subscribe if you like following our journey. Go out and be a blessing and get blessed.